Hey, I'm here to review Ghostbusters 2. All spoilers ahead. It's directed by Ivan Reitman, written by Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd. The cast is the same, with Harold Ramis as Egon, Bill Murray as Peter Venkman, Dan Aykroyd as Ray Stantz, Ernie Hudson as Winston, Annie Potts as their secretary, but the villain is played by Wilhelm von Homburg. Hope I pronounced that right. The plot of Ghostbusters 2: after saving New York City from a ghost attack, the Ghostbusters is disbanded for destroying the city during the battle. But when Peter Venkman discovers that his son is being targeted by a ghost, they go on a rogue ghost hunting adventure until a judge allows them to work again. First scene is really creepy because of who it's affecting. Dana's infant son, Oscar, when she turned her back to talk to somebody, the carriage just started going down the street, which it's kind of a terrifying thought because of what would have happened if it didn't dodge all the cars. I liked that they showed people trying to help, even though they weren't successful. And it's just a really well done opening scene, setting up what we're going to be dealing with. Dana is also very smart because instead of just hiding this like a lot of other movies would, she actually went to people she knows worked with ghosts, specifically Egon, which very smart thing to do. And I love that Peter Venkman is like running a world of psychic talk show where he seemed to be outing these psychics, which I just thought was really hilarious. I really like the Viggo painting. It's creepy. It also is well done in making it look like the time from when it was from. And so far, the characters are just as weird and just as lovable and endearing as the first movie, which is definitely a plus. There's just then the next scene I thought was good to talk about was when they use a jackhammer to open up part of the street in downtown New York where one of them goes down and finds a river of slime. And almost unfortunately for Ray, the other three get into a confrontation with a cop, or the other two, I should say, get into confrontation with a cop. Really funny scene. And then with the fighting, the slime reacts, setting up what's going to happen later on in the movie. Ray also, before, collected a sample of the slime. Really, this movie, while it's definitely a comedy, has some really good creepy images. Like with Dana's boss, when she didn't allow him inside, and they show him walking away, and his eyes started glowing like flashlights. I just thought that was a really creepy, just unnerving image. Then since the movie, the court takes her case fast, and the judge is kind of very strict, very stuck in his beliefs, and it really makes it funny. But my favorite line from that was after Louis Tully gives his opening it to the court, and then Egon says to him, "Very good, Louis. Short but pointless." It's such a funny line. And obviously, like I said before, Slime reacts to negativity, and the judge starts getting really pissed off, and just being negative towards the Ghostbusters. So the slime reacts and summons two ghosts in the courtroom. Unluckily for the judge, it was the Scoleri brothers who he sentenced to death. And since nobody else could capture the ghosts, the judge rescinds the order to allow them to work again, which allowed them to capture the Scoleri brothers while destroying the courtroom, but that it's gonna happen. Just like the first movie, there's a compilation of them catching ghosts in different ways. Like a really funny one was when there was a running or a marathon ghost, and they really did that really funny scene because Ray seems to be chasing the ghost, but then Pete's just sitting on a bench with a trap out, waiting for the ghost to come, and he just steps on the pedal and captures the ghost, which is really clever way of doing that. There's so many good scenes in this movie, which is why I think it's so underrated. Especially with the fact that the scene with the toaster and how they played music and it started dancing around. I thought that was really funny. And also, another creepy thing about this movie, because of the context, Dana's filling a bath for her and Oscar, and mood slime starts filling in. But then she turned around with Oscar and almost put him in before she saw the slime like trying to grab her, which I cannot imagine encountering in real life. Viggo, while he's the main villain, he's actually not used that often, just like Gozer, which I thought was a very smart choice. Obviously, after looking into Viggo, they go investigate the painting, where one of Venkman's funniest lines in this movie, he said to Dana's boss, who is controlled by the painting at this point, "Doing our daily creep test, and you are at the top," is that I laughed out loud, even though I've seen this movie many times. I'm not sure. I don't think I'm a big fan of how they made Janine in love with Louis rather than Egon, which they set up in the first film. But that's more of a nitpick than anything. Another scene, because of the context that makes it creepy, they get locked in a room, and they get locked in the room because the Viggo locks the deadlock, Jesus, and makes it so that they can't get out, and the room starts catching on fire, and Winston has to break the door down and save the day with the fire extinguisher. Thank goodness Winston was there, otherwise they probably would not have survived. And again, with the creepy imagery, next they go to investigate the transit system they try to get Peter, but he's on a date with Dana, so he doesn't go. And all of a sudden, they see a bunch of corpses that surround them, which is really dark, really creepy, and I can't. It's just really unnerving. I can't imagine seeing that in the transit system. After that, though, they hear a train and they're like, "Oh, it's probably just a thing above us." Until they actually see it coming down the tracks. Winston freezes up because fear is a very strong drug, and Winston gets hit, but he obviously doesn't get hurt because it's a ghost train. Really like how Winston reacted. It was goofy, but it was also could be considered natural because people freeze up. They they head further into the transit system and they find the river of slime. Winston throws something in or gets something caught in the slime and he gets dragged in. And Ray and Egon have to go in after him. And they actually, after they get out, because of the pure hate of the slime, they actually start trying to attack each other, which I like that they showed because they're shown to be really good friends and they really care about each other. But even that, or that actually was able to make them go for each other's throats. Obviously, the Ghostbusters find the mayor and explain to him what's happening. There's another person like Peck in this movie, the mayor's right-hand man, who actually gets the Ghostbusters committed to the psychiatric hospital, which was always hated that character for doing that. He has such a bias and hate towards the Ghostbusters for really no reason because he doesn't even know them. All he does is, or all he thinks is, oh, ghosts aren't real, even though they saved them from Gozer. Now they show Viggo again, and he's talking to Dana's boss. Dana's boss makes a deal with Viggo that when they succeed, he gets Dana as a wife. And Viggo agrees, although even if it did succeed, I'm not sure how willing he was or would be to uphold his deal. Dana Barrett come back from the date. Lewis and Janine were obviously making out, and Oscar was fine. But then when she goes in, Oscar's had been lured outside by a ghost, and he walked along the edge of the building on the ledge thing, which that I'm afraid of heights, so that gave me a little bit of anxiety, especially considering it's an infant. But the message of the movie that I got was really not. You have to put your hate aside, because all hate does is cause problems. All it does is cause pain, and you gotta work together, be nice to each other, which I thought was a really nice message, and especially relevant to nowadays society, or society today. Because of all the things that Viggo has done to succeed, and also the creepy imagery he made the Ghostbusters or did through Dana's boss, I really thought made him a really scary villain. And especially because of trying to possess an infant Most movies back then probably wouldn't have tried to do that. Now, this is where the scene where all the ghosts start coming out. And there's a Titanic scene where the people on the Titanic arrive in where they were supposed to before they sank, obviously. And a line from Cheech and Chong, "Better late than never." I thought that was really funny. Kind of dark, but funny. There's a slime wall of the the mood slime that really made it so that the Ghostbusters couldn't get in because their proton streams did not work, which is just bad. Obviously, they got to get in. And how did they do it? They figured out a way to have a symbol of hope and a symbol of like goodwill. And what's in New York that's a symbol of goodwill? The Statue of Liberty. I love that they use that because it's always seen as a symbol of like goodwill between France and the United States and that all that. But it really helped the people understand that they need, or really help people come together to be positive because of the symbol, which I just thought was really, really intelligent and really well done. Okay, I really like that they actually gave Lewis a chance to wield the proton pack, even though he doesn't really get to help with Viggo. He really is just a funny, nerdy character. Probably the funniest scene in this movie was Slimer picking up Lewis in the bus. It was just that was amazing. After the scuffle with the Ghostbusters, where they slime Dana's boss to get him to not be controlled by Viggo anymore, he leaves the painting and faces them head on, and you would think that, oh, it would be a little bit closer, but he absolutely destroys them. It took the crowd outside with their positivity and hope to really weaken Viggo, which again, really nice touch and really adds to the message. And also how Venkman really stuck up for Oscar, and he literally talked crap to pretty much a god. Then Ray gets possessed and slimed to get Viggo out of him, and they banish him by using their proton packs. This is a very underrated movie. A lot of people kind of throw it away because they said, oh, it's just a rehash of the first movie, but I just think that's wrong. There's a lot different. The message is different. There are similarities, yes, and some of the choices with the characters I wasn't a fan of, like Lewis and Janine. But overall, a really great movie. I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment,